All right. Well, I wasn't really planning on doing that this morning. I say that a lot, don't I? I'm not even sure it's working actually. Well, I guess it is. Boy, yesterday was wild. A lot of interference in the social media accounts. Just a lot of crazy things going on. Good morning, everybody. Today is the morning of the 4th of November, 2020. I'm Roy Potter. And I thought I'd come on and just, give us a chance to kind of take a look at things. I noticed, well, first of all, let me tell you, I got a call yesterday. I went out on a run, and I got a call yesterday from a friend of mine who keeps track of uh, celestial events, the stars, the sun, that kind of stuff, where he has friends that do. And I know Jesse of BP Earthwatch does that as well. The lighting in here is really bad this morning. As you can tell, I'm not in my studio. I didn't feel like doing that, and I'm using um, very little light, so I hope it's okay. Anyway, this friend of mine said, "Hey, there's a CME that was just ejected from the sun, and it's headed our way. And be ready for it. It's going to be a rough one." And I've known about these things for a long time, and yeah, they have a tendency they could disrupt electronics and electrical grids and things like that. And he says, you might want to tell your people on your channel. I thought, nah, I'm not going to bother anybody today. Well, then I turn on the YouTube this morning. I see that Monograph put up a video last night where he's talking about what's happening with the election and that we're being played and all that, which is certainly the case. And he mentions the same thing. I went to see if Jesse of BP Earthwatch had mentioned it. And Jesse, if you're going to be on here, you might let me know. I'm not a sun watcher, okay? I look at the sun as kind of a different thing, which you'll find out here in a minute, which I've talked about before. Uh, yeah, no, Black Knight, we're going to talk about Trump losing. And I'll just say that up front. It's the title of title of this video. Not to get off subject, but the bottom line is you are the target. Remember, all of this is to cause confusion, turmoil. The scriptures say the world will be in commotion. Commotion. That is the objective. Okay, that's the objective. Matter of fact, the AC doesn't even have to be the president. The system, and I've talked about this before, the beast system is what's behind all of this, and one of its heads got wounded, and that's exactly what happened. It's not over with yet. And remember, you're the target. So if you're trying to place, and I've talked about this to some extent, if you're trying to put it into the linear function that you think it should be, then you're narrowing your view. You're narrowing your horizon, your observations. You've got to look at the big picture. Okay. Um, I'm not even going to go there today because all of this is exactly like Monograph has said. We're all being played by an intelligence, and I mentioned this the other day. I don't know if it was here on Twitter, but people keep trying to match their wits with the character you know as Lucifer, that I know as Halel ben Shakar from Isaiah. That's his real name. And he's more intelligent than all of us, okay? He's not more intelligent than God, but he knows who we are, and he knows a lot about us, and he can fool you. And he has a lot of power because, right? Knowledge is power. So this thing's going to take a lot of twists and turns because it's not only the time of deception, it's the time of commotion. Everything will be in commotion. You can't trust anything with your eyes and ears. Okay, and even though it was very possible that he could remain in the presidency, whether by whatever means necessary, uh, it's the power behind it that really matters. Okay, that's what really matters. So that's not a caveat necessarily. It's just that we have to be able to look at this thing as a bigger picture. Let me get back to the sun. Yeah, there could be a lot of there's a lot of commotion, a lot of fake ballots, a lot of bad stuff going on, and it's all to target you. That's what you have to remember. It's to target you. No matter who wins, you're the ultimate target. And I've said that. You've got to be prepared. Prep, pray, and stay out of the way. Haven't I said that? All right. Getting back to the sun. So I don't know if Jesse's on here. He's probably busy. At any rate, so Monty brought that up again this morning that these CMEs are pretty. These sunspots and CMEs are looking pretty bad. Uh, and he thinks that all this is a distraction because they know that and some other things are going to happen. Well, I don't know about that. But I did tell you, and I'm going to bring it up again, that when it says in Malachi that the Son shall send healing in his wings, and I've said this before, it's not talking about Jesus. It's talking about Shemesh, which in Hebrew is the Son. There's no substitution there. There's no allegory. It's the Son, Shemesh. It's very possible that they're getting ready for something from there, and I've talked about that before. Whether all this that's going on is a distraction from this main earth-changing event that could happen from the sun, I don't know. I don't know how they could have that much foreknowledge, but I'm not saying they don't. But regardless, there are things that are happening that are going to upset the established order on their part, because the wicked are trying to destroy the wicked. They're trying to take control of us. They're trying to manipulate us and make us their not just their servants, but put us in our graves. That's their goal. Okay, and then God's using their evil against them so that they destroy their own system, right? Because God said that no nation would be standing before He comes, right? All nations would have to would be destroyed. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, etc., etc. That's all you're seeing here. So don't think that just because, and I'm not certain what's going to happen with this thing with Trump. We all know, and Monty made it clear this morning, it's a Kamala Harris win. That's really what's happened here, at least at this point. But that could all change in a heartbeat. So don't hang your hat there. Hang your hat on knowing that you're the target. This commotion is designed to cause havoc in the world. Okay, that's all it is. That's what Satan is. He doesn't know how to operate any other way. He can't put anything together. He can't create anything except chaos. Okay, confusion. So that's why I say you just got to stay out of it. You make your preparations, you prep, pray, and you stay out of the way. Okay? Monty is opposition control. Oh, for crying out loud. I'd have somebody throw you off here, but it's not quite where it needs to be for me to do that. Monty's controlled opposition. You guys, I tell you what. So that's the first thing I want to say. Keep your heads. Okay? Keep your heads. You're dealing with a being that's a lot, God's smarter than all of them, but God's letting them run their course now. And that being is a lot smarter than you. And whoever's in there doing this, and I still think it's Trump. I think Trump is the guy that got the wound by the head, the plague, and was healed. I still think that all plays out. That doesn't mean he has to keep the presidency. It would make sense that he does. But can you imagine the other kind of chaos that'll happen with Kamala Harris being in there? Monty mentioned the Bible Belt and how upset those people are going to be if there's any indication, which there is, that this election was stolen. Well, this is all about chaos and confusion and commotion. So keep your heads, keep prepping. Don't pay attention, because no matter who was in there, no matter who is in there, no matter who gets in the Oval Office, be it Trump, be it Biden, be it Harris, be it Pelosi, be it Clinton, it doesn't matter. The target is you. Okay? What was that? No, no. See, that's where you misunderstand the scripture, Marcia. You're listening to your sermon preachers out there that don't know what they're talking about. No, a mortal wound. You can receive whose mortal wound was healed. When you use deadly force, it says deadly wound, okay? and I explained this to somebody else, you use a police officer and he uses deadly force on you, that doesn't mean you're going to die. It means you could. But then the scripture turns around and basically says that it was healed anyway. So it was potentially a deadly force wound, but he recovers from it. Okay? Uh, Christians don't, go back to the original languages. You really need to do that. And I don't mean to keep getting off the track here, but that's a major problem with reading it in English. You do not understand the euphemisms, nor do you understand the nuances. He has deadly force used against him. He has a wound, which is a plague. It's plain in the Greek. He has a plague, which is a deadly plague, and he's healed from it. All right. So he does qualify in that regard as that head of the big beast, of the big system that's backing him up, which is, as I talked with I think it was Truth is Master yesterday. It may have been Julianne, I can't remember which, but the Silicon God, in other words, the AI, the creation. Remember, I've talked about a long time that you're commanded not to worship the workmanship of your own hands. That's idol worship. And they've created this computer system with an AI, which is mankind's creation, and they're worshiping it. And anybody who's getting these chips wherever they're putting them, or these computer connections, these whatever they are that they're using that Elon Musk talks about. It's connecting into that silicon God, and somebody's going to be at the top of that. And I think, like I said, I think I've already said who that is, and we're just going to wait and watch. So remember, all of this is for commotion, to keep you in turmoil. Time to start drinking, I guess. Well, no, I haven't done that. I haven't had any now in 3 days. I wanted to keep a mindful eye on things. Anyway, so that's the way I'm looking at this morning. Uh, it's very bad that if in fact, and it's very possible because the United States is a very wicked place right now. It has been for a long time. If they see, Trump gave this persona. He presented this character, which, as I pointed out to a lot of people on Twitter yesterday, is obviously not true in another area where he doesn't have any real morals. Okay, and he said that. He says he doesn't have anything to have to repent of, right? Now, I have nothing wrong with grown people having relationships with each other, especially men and women. I haven't got a problem with that. I know a lot of people talk about fornication and all that, but those types of fornications have to do more with outside of well, the thing between the fallen angels and all that. And I don't really get into that, not today. But at any rate, so this all this information came out yesterday. Jake Morphonios did it on Blackstone Intelligence, and I've had a problem with Jake in the past, and I was up front with some people about that yesterday. But you don't shoot the messenger just because he puts out this stuff, and the pictures speak for themselves. And no, they're not doctored. He might be hard to deal with sometime, but he doesn't doctor photographs or videos. He doesn't do that. So at any rate, these things are happening, and there's all of this, like I said, turmoil and confusion. So just keep your heads. The sun is apparently active. Shemesh is apparently active, and God said that He would send that with healing in its wings at a proper time. So I'm not sure exactly what all that means, but it's important. The other thing I thought I'd say this morning, I was thinking about a whole bunch of stuff to say yesterday. I was on another run. I didn't pay attention to the election business. I just figured that it just isn't worth it to me. I know that they're all evil, and I know that there's some that are more evil than others, but they're all their designs are, as I said this morning, to target you. So I was out on a run yesterday, and I often consider the Hebrew language as I'm pondering things, and it occurred to me because of what Jonah of Nineveh said. Michael of Jonah of Nineveh. There was a Twitter there's some tweets going back and forth, and Jonah said, "Well, Jesus said to address God as Father," and that's exactly true. That's exactly what Jesus said. My Father, our Father in heaven. And for those of you who are uh, scripturally adept and spiritually concerned, uh, I got to thinking about that really hard yesterday. I don't know if any of you notice. Yeah, I know. We have all this technology and we can't count votes. It's all a play, just like Monty said. It's all to cause turmoil and confusion. Okay? They're all against us. All those people are against us. That's really what it's about. So, getting back on this prayer thing. So, if you've ever heard me do any of the Hebrew blessings on here to anybody, or seen them when I write them in transliteration on Twitter to people, uh, I often use the phrase, and I'm not going to say it exactly the same here. I often use the phrase Adonai Eloheinu, which means the Lord our God. Okay, uh, there are different ideas of pronunciation, but that's basically it. Adonai Eloheinu, where Adonai stands for the YHVH, the Tetragrammaton, what you would know as Jehovah. After I considered what Michael said, I don't think I'm going to use that anymore, because Jesus said to address him as our Father, which has so many connotations and underlying secrets and truths that I really don't feel that I can get into it here. It wouldn't be proper. I'll talk about one aspect of it, maybe. But I think what I'm going to do from now on, normally in at least in the Hebrew as it's mostly discussed, when you talk about our Father, it's Ab is Father, Abenu, but they usually make the V sound, Avenu, rather than Abenu, meaning our Father. So I think it's very telling that when you look at it in Hebrew and you use the phrase Abenu Melech Haolam, it means our Father, King of the universe. So I'm going to use that from now on, just so you know. And thank you, Michael, for reminding me. Sometimes it's always good to get somebody else's input, and that really helps me. So I think there's a reason we're supposed to do that. Okay. I better not talk about the other subject. It'll tick too many people off this morning. Let me just put it to you this way. As Jesus took the sins of the world upon himself so that he could have his bride remain with him, something very similar to that happened in the Garden of Eden. And when Jesus said, I do nothing but what I have seen my Father do, he took the sins of his bride upon himself to save her. Some of you I've talked to about that off, certainly not publicly, and you'll see the tie-in right away. Okay. The greatest love story ever told. I talk about it. What happened in the Garden of Eden was the greatest love story ever told. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Okay. I won't take up any more of your time. Hi, Kay. How you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. I see you on Twitter every little bit. What did you say there? Yeah, ordo ob ko. Yeah, it's order ob ko. Yeah, yeah. More. They want more chaos, more confusion. And you'll remember Isaiah said, "As for my people, children are their." He's talking about the last days. He says, "As for my people, God's people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them." Whoa, if Kamala Harris gets in as president, interesting. But again, I'm not sure how this is going to end up. It's all targeted at you to cause commotion, confusion, and to make you go out of your mind. So keep your feet firmly planted down on the ground. Keep your wits about you. Pray often, and keep getting ready, because no matter what happens, they're coming after us. That's the bottom line. Trump proved that with his Operation Warp Speed. Trump proved that with shutting the country down. You know, he loses 55 million jobs, and yes, he did, because he did not have to. They say, well, you can't blame the virus on Trump. No, but I could sure blame the shutdown on him. That was unprecedented. And it was on purpose. He didn't do it because he didn't know what he was doing, he didn't do it because he didn't have the information. It was part of the program. He's pushing. That's why I can't stand him anymore. I can't stand to look at him. That picture of him kissing that little girl on the stage with open mouth. I mean, come on, people. People said, "Oh, you're making a big deal about that." Well, if you're going to make a big deal about what Biden does, you should be made to be consistent. Consistency cries for this. You should find a problem with that, and then all the other stuff that Jake Morphonios put out there about his connections, Trump's connections with Epstein. You ought to consider that and stop just dismissing it. Okay? They're protecting Trump. The deep state is protecting Trump, despite all the appearances. Okay? What's going to happen from here on is anybody's guess. I don't know. Chaos is the rule of the day at this point. So that's really all I've got. If it's fact that the CME is going to, which will probably be here shortly, and then there may be another one. Yeah, it's part. God's will is to destroy the wicked in the end, but He's got to let them have the. He's got to allow them to fill to the brim the cup of their iniquity. Okay, and well, that certainly is happening. That certainly is happening. So we're going to have to keep watching this for some time now. I suspect that Trump's not going to concede. I'm pretty sure, and of course Biden is going to claim victory, and then even more hell is going to break loose. Because remember what they've done is, and I've said this before, the evil side, the leftists, the Marxists, the BLM, the Antifa, and all those people, the evil side already had them. They have to get us drawn into this. They have to get us to buy into it. That was what Trump was all about, was to get us believing the plan, right? Trust the plan, that he's going to fix everything. So you suspended your own judgments. You suspended your own actions. Not all of you, but you see what I'm saying. So that's where we are. Now they've got to the point where I'm not certain that the conservatives will stand up, and you'll see any fighting coming out from them, but it's certainly a possibility. All I'm saying is that you've got to have your wits about you, and your feet on the ground, and keep your heads. Okay. I am not taking part anymore in this political charade ever again. I've already made that clear. None of them can be trusted. None of them. The Constitution is weak because it doesn't give punishment for those who violate it. They put it in statutes, but it needed to be in the Constitution itself. The directive that certain punishments be made. And there are attorneys that will argue all about that and the necessity of statutes and all that, but at any rate. So that's where I am today. I've got some other things to do. We just watch what's happening and be witnesses to the wickedness and the evil on both sides. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Wages World. Yeah, that's the one that my friend talked about yesterday. Wages World. Thank you. Who is that? Eric? Go to Wages World for Sun info. Yeah. And Jesse Waltman, who runs BP Earthwatch, he's another good one. He did have some information on the sun like 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, but not anything that I saw yesterday. He could have put it up maybe later, but I imagine that he's probably going to have some information up there fairly soon. So we'll just keep an eye out. Okay, I'm just rambling now. You all have a great day. Remember, you are the target. Trump was never really the target. Biden's never really been the target. You are the target. So plan accordingly, okay? All right, we'll see you later out here.